Hello everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to make pancakes for the Masters in Emergency Medicine education module. So let's go, let's make pancakes. A couple of basic things that you need to take into consideration when you are going to cook for people or make food for yourself, so on. I'm wearing a ring, I'm going to take it off just so that I don't get it in the batter or anything like that. You'll see that I'm wearing an apron and my hair is tied back. This is all for hygiene purposes. So obviously you don't want to be carrying germs into the food, especially if you're touching long hair and that sort of thing. So the other thing that you'll notice here is that I have packed out a lot of the things that I need. And the key thing that you need when you are baking anything is a recipe book. It doesn't help to sit down for a recipe without a recipe book, without actually having something to work from, especially when you're baking. When you're cooking, you can get away with putting a little bit of this, a little bit of that, whereas if you're baking, baking tends to flop when you don't go according to the recipe specifically. So the other things you'll see that I've got out here are my measuring cups, measuring spoons, mixing bowls, a whisk, another measuring cup, my pan, specifically pancake pan, a sieve, and then my ingredients in various spaces. Alright, so something to do when you are baking is always read the whole recipe first, just so that you have an idea of what comes next, so that you aren't unprepared. Because if you are unprepared, you might find that you needed to do something else first and it was just a poorly written recipe. So if we go through this recipe, the first section discusses all of the different things that we need. So we need 500 ml of cake flour. So the best way to do this is to then measure off exactly how much you need. So I've put some flour into this bowl, some of the snowflake flour, just so that I didn't have to pick up the whole 5 kilogram and then measure it out. I've got my measuring jug here, and I'm going to put it on the flat surface and measure out 500 ml. Be careful to try not to spill too much. Cool, spot on. So you'll see that I kneel down to look so that I don't have an error of parallax, just so that I can get the right amount, exactly 500 ml. So that's 500 ml in there. I can just do that to get a little bit of the flour out, and we set that aside because that's one of the first things that the recipe called for. Next is 2 ml of salt. I've got my salt over here and a measuring spoon, and that's ready with the 2 ml. So I can get to that quite easily. Next I've got my 2 extra large eggs. Be sure to, when the recipe calls for extra large, be sure to use the right size, because normal size eggs or jumbo eggs might not be enough compared to the extra large. If you are using jumbo eggs, I would say probably use 3 instead of 2, because this recipe calls for 2. 500 ml of water, we'll need to measure that off again. So because I know I'm going to be sifting this, I'm going to just put it through the sieve so long so that I can use the same measuring jug. Grant, do you perhaps want to finish that for me, please? Yes, ma'am. Alright, so now that my measuring jug is empty, I'm going to give it a quick rinse. And again, measure off 500 ml this time, tap water. I'm going to check that it is 500 ml again. Yeah, that's correct. 500 ml. Set that aside. We need 15 ml of cooking oil. to grab, there we go, the correct measuring spoon, 15 mils. Now, because this is not a measuring spoon that I can leave comfortably to know that it's not going to spill, I'm going to leave that until I need it, but it's ready and it's over there next to the cooking oil. Okay, the next thing I need is 10 mils of lemon juice. So here's my lemon juice. And this time I've got a 5 ml measuring spoon, so I know I'm going to use 2 of these. And then just cooking oil for frying. So we know we've got our cooking oil over there. So now everything is ready. Now we can go through the recipe. So the recipe asks to sift the flour and salt together, whisk the eggs, water and oil, add the mixture to the flour, then add lemon juice and beat until it's smooth. We leave the batter to stand for 30 minutes, and then if it's too thick we can add a little bit of water, lightly oil your pan and start cooking your pancakes. Now the end of this recipe says sprinkle with cinnamon sugar, but because we want this for dinner we're going to use mincemeat. So we're going to leave the last step and we're only going to do the first 4 steps. Alright, so sift the flour and the salt together. We've got our flour that we've already sieved. Now we need to add the salt to that, which is another 2 mils. You have it. Something that's important when you're measuring off these sorts of things is to make sure that this is level, otherwise it's not exactly 2 mils. There we go. Okay, that's completely through the sieve. I'm done with the sieve, so we can put this straight into the sink so that it's not in our way anymore. Okay, we've mixed those. In a separate bowl, we're going to whisk the eggs and the oil and the water together. So I've got another mixing bowl over here. I can take my pan out of the way, put it over here so long, where we're going to use it, and I'm going to start whisking the eggs and the oil. Where are my eggs? Oh, there they are. Alright. Key thing with eggs, you obviously just want to make sure that you get the majority of the egg in here, so be careful when you're breaking it. It's quite easy to break them on a surface like this. So hit it once, use your nails, and split the egg open. Let all of the egg run out. Thank you, Grant. And another one, thank you. Alright, I'm just going to rinse my hands quickly because they're full of eggs. Always makes it easier if you rinse your hands because then you don't have all sorts of eggs and batter and things on your whisk handle. So next we need to add the cooking oil, we said 15 mils, and the water. And this is all being whisked together. Alright, so you'll see again exactly level, and that's why I couldn't measure it off earlier. Just pop that in with your eggs. And this can go straight into the sink as well, so that you don't make a mess. I'm going to keep the oil aside so that it's ready for when I actually need to cook my pancakes. And now I'm going to add my 500 mils of water. And we start to whisk. Okay, when you whisk this, you want to get it to a consistency where the eggs start to break up slightly. And you'll see it's quite a watery mixture. Of course, that's because this recipe doesn't call for milk. If you do use milk, it tends to become quite a thick mixture and it's not quite as fluffy as what this mixture is. Does anyone have any questions so far? Are you all quite comfortable with this?
Yeah.
How old was Muhammad Ali when he died? Sorry.
Oh, goodness. Alright, so this we can add to our flour mixture. So we've got our flour mixture from earlier. Move that out of the way. And what's quite nice with these mixing bowls is the fact that they've got the little lip.
Yeah, makes it much easier.
And we can put this in. Okay. You'll see I'm using a hand whisk. Pancakes are quite easy. You don't need to whisk them with an electric whisk. They whisk really well by the, just like this, manually.
Do you get all the lumps out of it though?
With a little bit of
whisk.
effort. You'll see the lumps are almost out, and that was not even a minute of whisking. So our pancake batter has stood for 30 minutes now, and we're ready to actually carry on from here. So we're going to just give it a quick one more mix, and you'll see what I'm using is a ladle. This is a spoon that has quite a deep segment to it, so that we can actually scoop up the pancake batter. Alright, so now at this point I need to get my my hot plate on. I'm going to pop it on to 6, and I'm going to put some oil in here. Frying, so that means just the tiniest amount. I've got some paper towel here just to make sure we're not making a mess. And we want to cover our entire pan with the oil. So what you'll see, come look up close so that you can see, I'm just moving the hot oil around like that so that my whole pan is oiled. And what also works is to take what's left of your paper towel, sort of move it around. It also absorbs whatever is excess, because you don't want too much oil in one pancake. Alright, okay, we'll chuck this away. This is warming up, so it might take a few minutes. You can hold your hand above it to feel the heat. And then a good thing to do is to just get a reasonable amount. Don't fill your ladle too much. You want to scoop out and in, and get your batter to fill all of those gaps. We're going to make nice thin pancakes. And you'll see, because the plate is quite hot, it actually cooks quite quickly. What you'll see here is it's going to start to bubble, and then once these bubbles start to burst, then we'll sort of know that we are at the right level. I've got a spatula here so that I can flip it over. If you are feeling quite daring, you can try and flip it. The nice thing with this batter is that it's quite a runny batter, and that's why it makes such thin pancakes. If you like thicker pancakes, batter normally includes milk and more flour, but I quite like thin, lacy pancakes. I'm going to turn the heat down just to 4 now, because it was on 6, just to heat it up quite quickly. But we don't want our pancakes to burn, and 6 can be a little bit too hot sometimes. Okay, you'll see once it's sort of ready, you can move it just like that, and it will start to move already. And then you can flip it like that if you want to. If you aren't feeling quite up to that, you can use your spatula, and it works just as well. You'll see what I've also done is I've got a plate ready, because obviously we want somewhere to put our pancakes once they're cooked. What you can also do is put your oven on at a low temperature, about 100 degrees Celsius, and that way you can keep your pancakes warm until you make dinner or whatever. But because we're having warm mince with pancakes, we won't need to keep the pancakes too warm. Okay, Mark, I want you to do the next one. So just like I showed you with the ladle, pour it in, make sure that you twist the pan as you go so that you get the batter to spread across the whole pan.
Do I need more oil?
No, you don't need more oil, because there is still some on, even though you can't see it, it's still on the pan. And we've got a non-stick pan as well. There we go. Good job, very well done. Perfect. In the meantime, you'll see that we've got our mince warming up as well in the corner there, and you'll see that I've turned the pot handle away so that we don't bump it whilst we're working. If it was over here, we could bump it and that could get quite hot once it's warm. But at the moment it's just busy warming up. Okay, I think just hold on a little bit more. Because
See,
remember,
just these bubbles.
I was going to
Is that
say,
a sign that it's ready?
yes, so just like I said earlier, wait until it starts to bubble and then you'll know that it's, there we go,
Oh,
and
it's
now
loose.
it's quite loose. So now you can flip it. Well done.
Oh, well done.
Alright, Claire, now you're going to have a turn.
Okay, I'm just going to wash my hands quickly.
Alright, no problem. The pan's still nice and hot and you've still got some oil on, so nothing to worry about. I'm just going to give this mince a stir so this doesn't burn. Turn the heat down. Alright, so that's still warm, just mind your hand that you don't burn. Good job. There we go, that's perfect. And now we wait. You can see now because the pan is nice and warm, you can
Bubbles
see
are
how
coming
quickly
quickly.
it's cooking. It's fantastic. These non-stick pans are also the best to use because you can see how nice and smooth they are and you don't have to battle too much.
Starting to lift.
There we go, good. Perfect. There we go, your turn. There's the spatula, there's the soup ladle. Okay, mind the hole in the middle.
You can see I can hardly boil eggs.
It's alright, you're doing well. Grab a little bit more batter, just to grab that hole. There we go.
Student who doesn't know.
No, there's no such thing. Perfect. You see, you can save it, even if it does have that little bit of... So I think there, it was just a case of taking a little bit too little batter in the ladle. If you're feeling confident, you can flip it. If you're not, you can use the spatula.
No, I've got to clean the mess there.
Okay. Alright, I think it's pretty much ready. There we go.
Oh
well
yes, well done.
That was good. You can spank.
It did nothing wrong, so you don't need to punish it. Alright, so at this point we're just putting mince on the pancakes and we'll roll them up once they're done. So now we're going to roll the pancakes, just the last little bit, and there you have it. Dinner for 4.